We live in a time right now where a lot of people are having to wear masks. We're doing it out of love for each other as we protect ourselves, we protect our neighbor, and it's awkward, it's uncomfortable to be wearing that mask. But one thing I've noticed, it's actually maybe been a beautiful thing in the midst of all of this, is while I'm hearing a confession or I bump into someone in the parking lot and we're both wearing masks, we do a better job of eye contact. That might seem like a small thing, but you can't look at the rest of the face. It's hard to tell if the person is smiling, except by the little crow's feet on the edges of their eyes, which I now have. Or maybe you can't tell if the person is feeling sad until their eyes start to well up with tears. It's amazing how this mask, as inconvenient as it is actually helping us to focus our attention in a new way on the person as the eyes express really the depths sometimes of what's going on in a person's life. So it's had me thinking, maybe in a spiritual way here, of the importance of ignoring everything else around us and focusing on the gaze of Jesus Christ. You know, there's that gospel passage of Peter walking on the water. And you've heard it preached about probably tons of times. Every time it comes up in the gospel, probably the homily is almost the same every time, but it's beautiful, right? Peter starts to walk on water, going out towards Jesus in the midst of the storm without any hesitation, with complete confidence, because the Lord is right there with him. But as he's walking out on the water, he notices the wind. He notices the waves around him. And as he takes his eyes off of the gaze of Jesus, then he starts to sink, and the Lord has to pull him up out of that water. We're invited now, in the midst of this mess, in the midst of this stress of what's going on culturally, what's going on in our world, to keep our eyes fixed on the Lord. There's this theme in the Old Testament of eyes. It comes up multiple times. Lots of times we're hearing about the description of different characters in the scriptures about their eyes. Like we hear about Moses. Despite his age, his eyes were undimmed, literally meaning that he wasn't going blind. But the author, I think, was trying to highlight this spiritual truth. Like, yeah, his eyes have been on God. He sees spiritually. He sees clearly. Same thing with King David. When David was being made king, he was been chosen by the Lord, and he's this young guy, and he's short, and he's not much to look at, but he's got bright eyes, meaning that his eyes have been on God. His eyes have been focused on the thing that really matters. So there's this encouragement from the scriptures to keep our eyes on the Lord, and it doesn't literally mean our physical eyes, obviously, because God being spirit, we can't see him with our physical eyes. But we're invited to pay attention to God in our life. Pay attention with, if you will, the eyes of your heart. If we really want to see what God is doing in our life, if we want to recognize the movements of God, we have to look at him. We can't allow ourselves to fall into this temptation of I'm just going to sit back, and if God wants to reveal himself to me, then God's going to do what he's going to do. Yes, the Lord is seeking us out, but he also invites us to simply pay attention, to make the effort to look at him. And that might mean that we have to set aside some extra quiet time. We might have to go find that extra quiet place in order to focus our hearts, to ignore the distractions of the world, and really listen to what the Lord is trying to say, really listen to what the Lord is trying to do. When our eyes are fixed on him, then we can do amazing things. We can walk on water. If we ignore everything else, then we can focus on God. Just like when you're wearing that mask and you can focus on the eyes of the other one, the Lord is asking us to focus on the gaze of Jesus. God bless you.